Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in and pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, September 21st, 2020. This is episode 545 of The Daily Dope. This is your first time joining me. Let me mention that this is not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Very, very casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. Once in a while, we'll talk a little bit about PC games, sometimes a little pop culture, but for the most part, if it's going on your tabletop, we're talking about it here. Now, of course, do want to remind you, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos. And I am going to be showing you a bunch of stuff that has arrived for review. My gosh, it's going to blow your mind when you see everything that's shown up over the past couple of days. Well, 3 days, actually, Saturday and today. But of course, do want to also mention, when you're not watching the Daily Dope or videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Because this is a live stream, chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but there is chat. I do my best to pay attention to it as well. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in and I will respond, or do my best to respond. Sometimes the chat's flying by pretty quick. So saying that, if there's something really important you want me to comment on, just retype it, repop it up in chat. I'm sure I will see it. So far, Dan from No Enemies Here is hanging out with chat. He is first out the gate saying howdy. Good to see you, Dan. It's been a while. It's been, I think you showed up for one of the shows last week, if I remember correctly. So good to see you as always. Not literally, but figuratively, of course. I've got a good amount of news tonight. Before I jump into the news, there are a few things that I do want to mention. First of all, I interviewed my friend Dominic McDowell from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. That interview is now up. I put it up this morning. If you're interested in finding out what's cooking for, say, the Doctor Who role-playing game, or the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Age of Sigmar Soulbound RPG, that's a mouthful. Warhammer 40K Wrath and Glory, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition. By all means, check it out, because we spent about almost a half hour chatting. So, and it's always good to talk to my pal Dominic McDowell. Also, next thing, do want to also bring up the fact that I don't catch every news item out there. I know sometimes in chat, especially it's a gray day who hangs out in chat, they will normally bring up something like, hey, did you see the Kickstarter for XYZ? If there's something out there that you really think I should be aware of, by all means, just email me. My email is jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com. If you forget that, just go to thegaminggang.com, click on the contact. You'll get my email there as well. So by all means, I don't see every news item that's floating around out there. I am not aware of every Kickstarter that launches. So if it's something pretty cool, let me know. I can't tell you that I'll definitely put a news piece out there about it because, especially with Kickstarters, I don't share every Kickstarter that comes my way, just things that really kind of catch my eye. But by all means, let me know. Very cool. Third thing, final thing, do want to congratulate my nephew Cameron McAleer. Today he signed up for the Air Force, Air National Guard. So he was sworn in, although he won't go off to basic for, they're saying 6 to 8 months, probably because of COVID. But yeah, he's going to join the Air National Guard. So good for him. Way to go, Cameron. Big thumbs up. He wants to work on C-130s. So that's cool. Pretty cool. All right, so got a good amount of news today. So let's jump right on in. And then after the news, I will show you the loads of stuff that is on the horizon for me to share with you. But first off, arriving in January is an updated fantasy card game from WizKids. I've got the dope on Fantasy Realms, The Cursed Horde. Fantasy Realms is an acclaimed card game from designer Bruce Glasgow that takes, I should say, seconds to learn. Draw a card from the deck or discard area, discard a card, and try to build the strongest hand by using the best card combos. Fantasy Realms, The Cursed Horde, expands on the original, which I think came out in 2016. It does add 2 new modular expansions that can be added together or separately. Cursed Items adds a new deck of cards. Players each take 1 item that they can use whenever they wish to create a powerful effect, like taking double turns, hiding discarded cards, or even skipping your discard phase to keep an extra card. But whenever you use a cursed item, it turns into negative points at the end of the game. The more powerful the effect, the more points you'll lose. Adds 3 new suits to the game as well. Develop your realms with buildings, attract powerful mythical outsiders, and raise the undead. The game does include 47 cards. Kind of strange. I would have thought it was way, way more cards than that. Saying it's 2 new decks of cards. Kind of surprised. Fantasy Realms, The Cursed Horde, and it's HOARD. Kind of strange. I guess it's the Cursed Horde, like you're hoarding these items. Anyway, the game is for 3 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 20 to 30 minutes. It is going to carry an MSRP of $14.99 when it arrives in January. Huh. Okay. I had actually heard that Fantasy Realms was pretty interesting. So it is not one of these games where you're summoning monsters and things like that. I believe you're trying to collect different items, different like magical items, and that you can use them together as combos, and that could be kind of cool. Could be pretty interesting. So I see that Chris Hoisington is in chat. Hello, Chris. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is, I got to point out, it is cool out. It was a pretty nice day in the Chicago area today. I think we got up to maybe low 70s. But once again, it is like super humid down here in the Duct Tape Studios. Gosh, pretty soon I'm going to call this the dungeon because it's not as bad as a couple of weeks ago. There were a couple of nights it was like, oh my gosh. It's like, blah. But it is kind of humid down here. Moving right along, my next news piece. Arriving this month from Funko Games is Pan Am. I've got the dope. I am actually very interested in this game, but I highly doubt Funko is going to be, bending over backwards to get me a copy of this, and I'll explain why in a moment. Pan American World Airways ruled the skies and made travel more accessible without sacrificing glamour. Players take control of their own fledgling airlines and compete with Pan Am and others to build a business empire. Outbid rivals for lucrative landing rights in exotic locales, buy planes with longer range to reach the far corners of the world, and use insider connections to advance your interests. As you bump up against the ever-growing Pan Am, You can sell your routes to the company to turn a tidy profit. It's a game of global strategy that spans 4 decades of industry-changing historic events and technological developments, in which every timeline is different. The gameplay features 52 airplane miniatures from 4 distinct airline eras. Gorgeous game board features unique depictions of global airline routes. There's random game-altering historical events, which provide a different play experience every time. It's a depth of strategy, which will appeal to players of empire-building games, and its fast-paced, fluid gameplay keeps all players involved throughout the turns. Also includes the distinctive Pan Am logo. Can't beat that, right? Pan Am is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in around 60 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $34.99. I believe this releases next week. I don't have an exact release date, but the info that I get from one of the distributors is saying that it is slated to release sometime next week. Very cool. I do like the Art Deco kind of style to some of the cards in that. This looks like it's pretty cool. Looks pretty interesting. As far as the gameplay itself, I don't know. I like the fact that you are playing through 40 years of aviation history. I like that as well. Reason why I highly doubt that I could score a review copy from good old Funko is because I really didn't care for their Funkoverse games, where I did the review for the, which one was it? It was the Rick and Morty Funkoverse game, and I just thought it was pretty meh. And I got to say, a lot of people have checked out that review. I mean, a lot. Thousands of people have checked out that review video. And there are a lot of people who don't like that review video. So I would assume that Funko's probably one of them. But hey, you know what? Thousands of people have checked it out. I shared what I thought of the game. That's what reviews are for. That's how I operate. On to the third news piece. Arriving next week from KOSMOS is the legacy game My City, which is designed by Reiner Knizia. And here's the dope. My City is a competitive legacy game in which you develop a city on your own playing board through the ages. The game consists of 24 episodes, beginning with the development of a city in its early pre-industrial stages and progressing through industrialization. During each game, players customize their experience by adding elements to their personal boards and adding cards to the game. Players' choices and actions made during one session of gameplay carry over into the next session, creating a personalized gaming experience. For players who do not want to experience My City as a legacy game, a double-sided game board offers an alternate setup for repeatable play. Some elements from the legacy experience are needed for the repeatable play game. Players can unlock these elements by playing through the first 4 episodes. The game features a family-oriented board game, which is a legacy game with simple rules and short playing time. Shape your city from settlement to industrialization. Yikes. That rolls right off the tongue. Additional components are added to the game as players play My City. Once again, this is a legacy board game where players' choices and actions made during the game carry over into the next playthrough, creating a unique gameplay experience. So no 2 games are alike. The game is comprised of 24 different episodes. Each episode or playthrough lasts approximately 30 minutes or less. Game gets progressively harder as you play through the episodes. Enjoy the full legacy experience and play through the 24 different episodes, or flip the game board over and the game is set up for repeatable play with all the components, beginning at episode 12. Developed by world-renowned game designer Reiner Knizia, it's also illustrated by world-famous award-winning illustrator Michael Menzel, illustrator of Legends of Andor, as well as 40 other games. My City is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. As mentioned a few times, each of the episodes plays out in around 30 minutes. I would take a stab in the dark that once you get to the point where you can just have repeatable play, you're also probably looking at about 30 minutes as well. This is going to carry an MSRP of $34.95 when it arrives in stores next week. Nice. I got to be honest, I have really not played legacy games except for Betrayal Legacy, which I liked. We never finished up Betrayal Legacy. We got about halfway through. And then, of course, we were just too many games stacking up that had to be reviewed. So it couldn't just be like, yeah, screw the review stuff. Well, let's play Betrayal Legacy again. I do see that it looks as if this is another game that uses it's almost like Barren Park. There was another game we were just talking about last week. I don't recall the name of it, but they have these almost like Tetris pieces that represent different, I'm going to take a guess, different types of buildings or areas of your city, or I should say maybe my city. So we're seeing a lot of that. We are seeing tons of that. In a little bit of a way, it also reminds me of that game Warsaw, which I really, really dig, which is from, my gosh, now I'm zoning out. Hank, well, come on, Jeff. North Star Games. I'm like, who's Warsaw from? Yes, good old North Star Games. In fact, funny story, I've mentioned this before. Of course, we didn't have Gen Con this year, but Gen Con the year previous, I was there on Wednesday, which is kind of like a retailer's day, but they invite the press to come. And they had kind of an introductory night, excuse me, for different board game companies. And I'm friends with the folks over at North Star. So Bruce and Luke, I'm pals with both of them. So they had brought Warsaw with, as well as, I want to say the Quacks of Quinlanburg. I'm probably getting that town name wrong, but you know the game I'm talking about. So they had a couple of tables, but they only had one person who was going to be able to run a game. And I say, hey, you know what? If you want, I'm more than happy to run Warsaw for you. And I did. So that's kind of funny. It was kind of funny. In fact, I had some folks from AEG kicking it, playing Warsaw. All right. Let's start talking a little bit about some role-playing game news, because hitting stores in November is the hardcover edition of Tome of Beasts 2 for 5e. It's from Kobold Press. Here's the dope. The Tome of Beasts 2 from Kobold Press brings nearly 400 new monsters to 5th edition, designed by some of the most talented and wildly creative designers working today. You'll find monsters for almost every location your heroes might journey, from farmlands to forests, dungeons to deserts, and from bustling cities to fantastical planar realms. Tome of Beasts 2 brings you angelic enforcers and alligator turtles, befouled weirds and clockwork tigers, horde drakes and vampire dragons, death vultures and dragon flesh golems, imperial dragons and sword breaker skeletons, swamp nagas and magma octopuses. Okay. Sasquatches and shriekbats, and walled horrors and wraith bears. I do have to say, I like this. I think this is supposed to be like King of Halloween, the image that's being shared right now. I think that's what this monster is called. Dig it. I really like the artwork. The artwork is very, very cool. Definitely digging this. Keep your players surprised, entertained, and terrified with all new opponents they've never seen before and won't be expecting. The hardcover will hit stores on November 11th. It does carry an MSRP of $49.99. Nice. This was a very successful Kickstarter, obviously enough. I believe the Kickstarter, I think it was last November that they ran this Kickstarter, and it did very, very well for Kobold Press. I have to point out, I have never actually reviewed anything from Kobold Press. I'm almost positive I have not. But that's going to change because I did touch base with Wolfgang Bauer, and we are looking into having the gaming gang do some reviews of Kobold Press releases. Nice. So that was very cool. Somebody on Twitter from Kobold Press had pointed out I should reach out to Wolfgang Bauer and gave me the email address. So I just heard back. I got to kind of respond to Wolfgang's email, but very cool. I'm very pumped to be able to check out some of the Kobold Press releases. Who knows? Maybe even this. My final news piece, now available in print from Earl of Fife Games, is an interesting looking role-playing supplement that I ran across. It also includes an adventure. It is set in 14th century Scotland. Here is the dope on Wallace. Freedom from the yoke. And I know you're expecting me to do the Braveheart freedom yell. I am not. I am going to I'm going to like fight the urge. William Wallace's story of legend began in Lanark Castle, where the Scottish patriot first rose up in rebellion against the English. The Actions of Lanark is a 40-page sandbox adventure that allows players to assume the role of Scottish rebels, their allies, and perhaps even William Wallace himself. Wallace also contains a setting primer with the most important events from the First War of Scottish Independence. The setting primer helps game masters develop a campaign in early 14th century Scotland. Wallace is a setting adventure book for heroes in hardships. This setting adventure is special as it only requires the Heroes in Hardships Quick Start Guide, which is pay what you want over at Drive-Thru RPG, which also means you can pay nothing if you want. In fact, I gotta be honest, most publishers, when they make something pay what you want, they're assuming you're not going to pay anything. They just want to get that out there and have you take a look at it. Wallace is also 100% compatible with the Heroes in Hardships core rulebook, which is on the horizon. Grab your claymore and take the field against the southern invaders and use your glib tongue and engage in the deadly political arena of the Scottish nobility. You will find all of the following included: The Actions at Lanark, a 40-page sandbox adventure, which gives players total freedom to complete their task as they wish. Over 20 medieval NPCs with full stat blocks, including William Wallace, Robert the Bruce, and John Corman the Red. A setting primer for the First War of Scottish Independence. The major events of the war detailed with many possible ways that player characters may be involved. There's new rules for breaking objects such as gates and walls, wielding siege equipment, and using castle defenses like boiling oil and falling stones. You can score the 55-page soft cover, that's right, it is now in print, and the PDF together for $19.99, or just grab the PDF for $9.99 at Drive-Thru RPG. While you're at it, do not forget, get your hands on the free quick start for Heroes and Hardships. Nice. I thought this looked pretty interesting. One thing I will point out, it is 55 pages. The price on the PDF, in my opinion, is a little high. I think it's a little bit high. Looks like Dan from No Enemies Here has to rock on out. Good to see you, Dan. Catch you next time. Keep on keeping on with your show as well. So yeah, I think that PDF price is just a tad high. Just a little high. But I guess, it is what it is these days. Plus, with the pandemic, there are a lot of people in pretty dire straits as far as the gaming industry. So, got to pay a couple extra bucks to help keep people around. It's worth it. Anyway, as I mentioned, Wallace is available over at Drive-Thru RPG. Whenever I mention Drive-Thru RPG, keep in mind that the gaming gang, thus the Daily Dope, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites, So if you are going to swing on over to, say, Drive Through RPG, please stop by the gaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads, and that way, if you happen to make a purchase, I'll get a little portion of that sale. And I got to thank everybody out there. There are a lot of people who use those little banner ads, and all those dimes and quarters really, really do add up, and they do help keep the Gaming Gang website around. Thank you very much. All right, so that is it for the news tonight. So it's going to be kind of a quicker show today, and strangely enough, don't really see too many people in chat. In fact, it was Chris and Dan. So I am wondering, real quick, I'm just going to go take a peek here. I want to take a look. See, here's the thing. Oh, Kevin Smith is in chat. Okay, good deal. Hiya, Kevin. Thanks for popping in. Just missed the news. YouTube is going to change their streaming setup. They have this, well, it's been out for a while, but I don't care for it. They have this like live studio thing. And I've noticed that using the live studio chat doesn't work. So that's not good. And what I'll normally do is I will have what's going to happen like on the show, right? So when this stream ends, you'll see this video, and then you're going to also see an upcoming video which says it's the same thing. As soon as the stream ends, I usually jump in and I change that to the next show, right? The next show's date, the next show's number. But I leave some of the information the same in there, or it just says, join Jeff for the latest in tabletop gaming news. With this new live studio, you really can't do that either. You have to enter it looks like you have to enter everything in every time you do a stream. And to me, it's like, why change something that already works? But you know, it's YouTube. They're just doing what they want to do. So unfortunately, at some point, they're going to do away with the classic streaming studio, which is what I use. So I am really hoping that it doesn't screw everything up. My luck, it will. So I opened the show and I was talking about how I got all this stuff that arrived over the past few days. So Saturday I had a shipment, and this morning I had a shipment. I want to share what's shown up because, excuse me, there's a piece of fuzz on the end of my nose. Oh, there's always things blowing around in the air down here in the Duct Tape Studios. But I do want to share with you what arrived and what's on the horizon. So, Worthington Publishing sent me a trio of their newest games to review. These are going to be the first Worthington Publishing titles I have actually had an opportunity to check out. So we've got Napoleon Returns, 1815. So this arrived, as well as Crusader Kingdom, which I think Crusader Kingdoms, plural. I believe this is their latest release. I think this is their newest game that just came out. And then we also have the French and Indian War, which if Crusader Kingdoms is not the newest, then this is the newest. So pretty cool. So French and Indian War, Crusader Kingdoms, as well as Napoleon Returns. And I am actually heading over to my brother's after the show. We're celebrating my nephew enlisting into the Air National Guard. And I already read the rules for this online. So I'm going to crack this open and we are going to play and see what we got here. So I should, as I'm holding this upside down like a dope, right? So Yeah. Just goes to show I'm usually looking into the camera or at the teleprompter, one of the two. I'm usually not looking at me in the stream on the software on OBS Studio that I use. Anyway, we're going to play this tonight. So we should get a review of this fairly shortly. I do play games multiple times. I don't play them just once and do a review because you never know. I might be playing something wrong. So, yes. Gentlemen, Melwinius from York has arrived. Yes, gents, you did miss the news. In fact, Kevin Smith popped in just as I finished the news. So, yeah, the news is over. And then Kevin mentions, Jeff, you're holding the Napoleon Returns box upside down. So you may remember I had mentioned that I had gotten an email from my PR contact over at Paizo Inc. telling me that they were sending a box just chock full of Pathfinder and Starfinder goodness. And it arrived today. Hold on to your hats. I'm going to show you what came. So if you're a fan of Starfinder, we've got the Space Station Emergency Expansion flip tiles. I already do have, I've already got the box set. So these just go right in that box set. So I got the flip tiles. I got the giant Starship flip mat. So that arrived. I have the first two parts of the Devastation Arc adventure path. So I have Waking the World Seed, as well as the Starstone Blockade, as well as the Starfinder Starship Operations Manual. So these are the Starfinder releases that came my way. Now let's talk about the Pathfinder, because I got the Darklands Fire Caves expansion. I do not have the original flip tiles for this. I like these flip tiles. They're kind of cool. I keep telling people, you don't necessarily have to be running a role-playing game to be using these flip mats and flip tiles. This is perfect if you're playing skirmish miniatures games. Work really, really nicely for your terrain. Flaming Heron has popped into chat. Good to see you, Flaming Heron. All right, so that's the first of the Pathfinder items. Then we've got the Haunted Dungeons multi-pack flip mat. So that was part of the package. I have the Falls and Rapids Flip Mat Classic right here. The Pathfinder Advanced Player's Guide. The Advanced Player's Guide Character Sheet Pack. Pathfinder Lost Omens Legends. Wait, there's more. You say you like Pathfinder Adventures? Well, I got the copy of the standalone The Slithering Adventure. Ooh. I have the first 3 parts of Agents of Edgewatch, Devil at the Dreaming Palace, 60 Feet Under, and All or Nothing. This, I believe, just came out in stores. I think this is just hitting. A couple of these items that I've shown you are just arriving in stores. I believe the Lost Omens Legends book is hitting stores like today or tomorrow. Also got the Extinction Curse Pawn Collection, as well as this one's pretty big, the Bestiary 2 Pawn Collection. So, I mean, I opened this box, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, look at how long it took just to go through showing you everything that has arrived from Paizo Inc. to review. So, of course, it is going to take a while to get through this. What I might end up doing is I might actually have like a Paizo week where I'm sharing a bunch of videos for the various different releases. What I'm probably going to do as far as the adventures, at least as far as the Pathfinder adventures, when I review them, I'm also going to talk about utilizing those adventures for anything, systems outside of just Pathfinder or just 5th edition, because you can utilize the various different adventures for both Pathfinder and 5e. I have got to take a peek because I've only reviewed, myself personally, I've only reviewed the first part of the Extinction Curse, which is where the player characters were part of a traveling circus. So they're performers as well as, heroes. And I don't remember digging in too deeply into like the stat blocks to see if they are actually statted for both Pathfinder 2nd edition and D&D 5e. So I'll have to take a peek. I'll have to take a look. But oh my God, I was like, holy. I was like, geez. They weren't kidding that they were sending me pretty much everything that's come out the last 3 months. So pretty sweet, pretty nice. Really, really appreciate it. The fine folks over at Paizo Inc. supplying me all this RPG goodness. So, Flaming Heron says, even just showing Paizo stuff takes minutes. So Kevin Smith says, Kevin R. Smith, I should point out, and yet to see something in a brick and mortar store. I'm not sure what item Kevin was mentioning that they have not seen. So there's a Grade A. Good to see you, Grade A. Thanks for popping on in. So, Kevin, if you have a chance, let me know what you have not seen in your brick and mortars. I'm kind of curious. So, let's see here. Kevin also says, all those minis and pawns are awesome since Pathfinder uses the same scale as D&D and a lot of other RPGs. Advanced Player's Guide. Okay. I saw the APG and I thought that's what you were talking about. But then at the same time, I was talking about and holding. So I thought maybe you were talking about a board game as opposed to a Pathfinder supplement book. All right. So that is all the goodies that have come my way. And stay tuned, because I also have some other stuff that I've got reviews ready. I haven't shot them yet. I just have to shoot them. But I mean, I've got all the little graphics and stuff all done, all ready to go. So I am going to try to get some of those out this week as well. One of them is Dungeon Drop, which is from Game Right Games. So keep your eyes peeled. Once again, I know a lot of you who have joined me in chat tonight were a little bit late popping in, so you did miss the news. It was pretty quick. Rocked through the news pretty quickly. For one, there was some of the news pieces were actually pretty short. So, but at least we got some pretty cool stuff to take a peek at. Anyway, also wanted to mention those of you who popped in a little bit late. I'm heading over to my brother's after the show because my nephew Cameron has enlisted in the Air National Guard. He was sworn in today, although he's not going to go off to basic for like 6 to 8 months due to the pandemic. So we are going to kind of go celebrate. I'm going to congratulate him as well. Nice. And something else that I mentioned, and a Grade A is talking about it now. And if a Grade A, if you watch earlier in the show, if you watch first few minutes of the show, I had mentioned that if anyone who watches this show, if they run across a news item, a Kickstarter that they're like, wow, this really looks cool, Jeff should know about this, shoot me an email. Just point me in the right direction. Now, I mentioned a Grade A does that a lot in chat. Well, in fact, we're going to talk about what just popped up in chat in a moment. But if you run across something, please email me. It's jeffmaclear@thegaminggang.com. If you don't remember that, just go over to thegaminggang.com, click on the contact My email address is right there as well. That's not to say if it's a Kickstarter or something that I am definitely going to share that news. I don't share everything that comes my way, but if it also catches my eye as it has yours, by all means, I will share a news piece about it as well. So pretty cool. Also, the other thing, if you joined me late, my interview with my friend Dominic McDowell over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment is up as well on the channel. We had a good time talking about all the latest goings on over at C7. So if you have any interest in any of the Cubicle 7 Entertainment role-playing games, give it a watch. We even talk a little bit about the Doctor Who role-playing game. That was kind of cool. There's a new edition of that coming out with Jodie Whittaker on the cover. Well, he didn't say Jodie, but I assumed it's Jodie Whittaker on the cover. All right. So a Grade mentioned tomorrow, Hasbro and HeroQuest. Supposedly there is an announcement coming tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it actually is. I'm also kind of curious if this has a little something, I don't know. Maybe even has something to do with Avalon Hill, them moving Avalon Hill from being under Wizards of the Coast to now being directly part of Hasbro. I don't know. I have no idea. If I find stuff out, of course, I will include it in the news tomorrow. If a lot of times they will send me the news release for different Hasbro board games. So we will see. We will see what happens with that. I've got some other news already set aside. There is one Kickstarter I know is starting that I'm going to bring you news about. There's another. I'm not positive if it's starting tomorrow or not. I'm waiting for somebody to get back to me from the company. And then, of course, we'll have some other stuff. I always like to include a couple of role-playing game news pieces as well. All right. So, Flaming Heron says they saw a little before they had to go outside to mow the lawn. So, it must the interview with Dom. Cool deal. Okay, so here's something. We got a few minutes. So here's a little inside baseball note. So Hasbro, a Grade A says Hasbro has a countdown clock on the Avalon Hill website, which is counting down to what's possibly going to be the reveal of the second edition of HeroQuest. Because next to the clock is the depiction of the Witch Lord from the HeroQuest expansion, Return of the Witch Lord. Wow. If they announce, okay, so okay, let me finish up the inside baseball and then I'll mention something about that. So, the interview with Dom, I've mentioned it before. I use OBS Studio to record my videos, to do the stream. It's pretty easy to work with. Maybe it's not, the most in-depth and, crunchiest software that I could utilize, but it gets the job done. So the thing is, I do my interviews through Skype, and Skype is real tricky about what it will actually utilize as a video camera or as like a cam. It will not utilize one of my capture devices. So only one of my capture devices will actually be detected by Skype. Problem is, if I allow Skype to use that capture device, then I can't actually record me. So here I went and I messed around. I've got some old cameras that I started doing the show with all that time ago. What, 545 episodes ago. So I set it up. I had everything set up. So I had it where Skype was detecting that. And I had that camera just kind of off to the side, a little bit of an angle from the camera I'm shooting right now, my Sony A6000. Well, the thing is, OBS Studio would not allow me to pull in the video feed from Dom if I had the cam on. So in that video, Dominic cannot see me. He could only hear me. And you'll notice early on in the video, you'll notice his video window kind of moves a little bit because Dominic was standing there talking, and he just kind of would keep. So I had to move over, move that over. So early in the interview, he's talking, and I'm like sitting there. You see me like looking off and doing. It's like, geez, Jeff, don't even pay attention to your guest. Yes, I was paying attention, but I didn't want it to be like, here's Dom, right way off to the side. But it also funny because he couldn't see me either. And I do notice that when I do interviews, if my subject can't see me, I don't feel the interviews go as well as when like I'm standing there face to face, or they can see me, I can see them. So, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, so as far as Hero Quest, if Avalon Hill or Hasbro, what have you, announces a new edition of Hero Quest, I will share a story that I had been asked not to reveal. I don't have any inside dope. Keep in mind, let me know. I'm just telling everybody, I do not have any inside dope about this possible second edition of Hero Quest, but I do have a little story about Hero Quest and who was trying to purchase it and bring it back, which if Hasbro does release, news that yes, it's a new edition, then that of course did not happen. But I was sworn to secrecy, but if they announce that, then I guess I'm not really sworn to secrecy anymore. All right. Anyway, so here's the funny thing too about Hero Quest. I've never played it. I've seen enough of it. Elliot, my best friend, Elliot Miller, he's got it. Well, actually, I think he sold it on eBay. He had like the base game. I have never played it. And I know there are a lot of people out there who just love that game. Tom Vassell, if I remember correctly, is a huge, huge Hero Quest fan. So I don't know. This could be pretty interesting. I will have to keep my eyes peeled to see what happens. A lot of times I might finish up this show, go check my email, and there might be an embargoed news piece that's been sent to me as well. So I don't know. We'll find out. All right. So that is it for tonight's show. Of course, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up as I try to maneuver over here. There we go. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring the notification bell, because not only will it let you know when I stream the Daily Dope live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos as well, such as some upcoming coverage of some Worthington Publishing titles, bunch of Pathfinder and Starfinder stuff, as well as plenty of other goodies I've got on the horizon. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. For those of you who are hanging out in chat, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Always appreciate anybody just kicking it with me while I just, blab away into the ether. Those of you who do not watch live, I know a lot of you out there don't have an opportunity to catch the stream live. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. Thank you very much as well for taking time out to watch this goofball. Just gotta babble on. All right, so I will be back tomorrow. So everyone enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Tuesday morning. And of course, as I've been signing out throughout this pandemic, let me once again remind you, please be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, see what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel, give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer.